You're on.
How do I get over here? Are we live right now?
We're live.
Oh my goodness. Hello everybody. Happy Friday afternoon.
You're on.
Huh? How do I see?
Refresh just the YouTube homepage.
Tech support. There's a reason I'm on this side, not the smart side. Alright, I am just trying to figure out how to get my life together here so I can see what you guys are asking about this bike. There's a couple questions that we got. Here we go. On the Instagram poll, which were pretty good. Some pretty good questions on there. We just want to be able to monitor these in real time so I can answer them. Let's see what we got here. All right. Forgive us, we've got some slow internet here, so if it looks a little glitchy. All right, so this thing looks like it's loading up. Hopefully I'll be able to monitor your chats shortly. But Specialized Levo, long-term review. Had this bike for a year. You guys might remember the dissected feature that we ran back when Alan Cook and Joe Buckley came up from Specialized and dropped the bike off, and it was an awesome and sloppy ride, and we spent a bunch of time riding this bike, passing it off to a lot of other testers ever since then. Put a lot of different wheels, we got some different brakes on here, but it's been abused and ridden hard, and I gotta say most of our crew has enjoyed this bike thoroughly. So looks like we got a few of you guys online already, so I'll start answering some questions on the Levo or anything else as I start seeing them pop up. Pat Hoffman from Minnesota, right on. My dad was from Minnesota, so spent a little bit of time back there. Go Vikings! All right. And hello from Santa Monica. What's up? We are here in Chatsworth right now. Back home, doing a little family visiting and riding some of the old home trails. So let's see. Before we get too much further into this, we haven't officially announced it yet, but let us know what you think. We are basically contemplating opening up like a YouTube premium or like a subscriber account or whatever they're calling it, but it's basically a spot where we're thinking that we'll host more of these live bike reviews, hopefully with some better quality, and it'll give us a spot to post a lot of like raw edits, behind the scenes stuff, extended takes. So if you guys think you'd be interested in that sort of content, we're not going to be charging a crap load of money, but you know, a few bucks a month to get access to a lot of extra stuff. It'll help us pay our little video editor guy over here to make some extra vids. Let us know if you think that'd be worthwhile, or if you like this live bike review format. So without further ado, here we go. Patrick Hover, first question. Really thinking of the Levo or the Pole 190, 190. Wow, that is a very different bike. Haven't really ridden very many. You guys set me up for a joke. I don't ride poles very much, but the Levo is a pretty solid bike, I think, for a versatility standpoint. 160, 150 bike. It's going to be a lot more fun and a lot more nimble, agile, and just kind of playful on a majority of terrain, but it still has enough of a slack and aggressive geometry set and enough travel and that 38 fork up front allow you to really charge trails when you want to get after it. So let's see, East Tennessee, Josh Grant, what's up? We're coming out there in April for the e-bike shootout. Look forward to that. Thinking about the alloy comp and using the extra money for suspension. Would you go for the alloy comp or carbon? It's hard to hear me. Hard to hear me. Is the volume too low, or is it skipping out? I'm not a huge, gotta have carbon type of guy, I feel like getting a bike that's going to ride better and has the best components for the value is going to be more important. I think there's definitely a good reason to go with the aluminum bike if it's got a good component spec and or it gives you the ability to save some money and upgrade. Suspension, brakes, derailleur, wheels, tires are going to be the big items, and I think I know I would much rather have a bike that has better suspension, brakes, and wheels in an aluminum frame than a carbon frame with crappier components, if that makes sense. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. You hear the birds in traffic. Well, we are in the San Fernando Valley. There's a lot of cars and traffic around here. Sorry for that. All right, let's see. What do we want to talk about on this bike? 700 watt hour battery, 90 Newton meters of torque, adjustable geometry. I ran this bike mostly in the stock factory setting for almost the entire test period, as did most of our other guys. 64.5 degree head tube angle was a great blend of stability and kind of agile playfulness. So I think Specialized did a really good job there. Let's see. One of the questions that we got was this or the new Heckler. I don't have a definitive answer for that one yet. We've only been riding this new Heckler for, just only been about 2 weeks. I think there are some areas where that new Heckler really shines and is a ton of fun. It is very light feeling. It is super jumpy and snappy, and I am really digging it. If you've seen Red, watched many of our reviews, you'll know I am not the biggest BPP fan. They've made some big improvements. However, it's still a little bit rough and chattery, and I think that the RX tune and the suspension, the rear end suspension, is a little bit better on the Specialized Levo. That being said, I mean, there's a lot of elements to look at, so long story short, I don't know yet, but that new Heckler is pretty sweet. Let's see. Thinking of investing in an e-bike, however, I feel if I wait a little longer, the weights will start coming down. Yes, they will start coming down. We're already seeing that. I think there's going to be a weird bubble. The bikes could be getting lighter, however, we're putting bigger batteries in them at the same time. So, if we still were running 504 watt hour batteries, these bikes would definitely be, 2.5, 3 pounds lighter than they could be, but batteries just keep getting bigger as well. And I think as we make e-bikes lighter and experiment with, do people want 900 watt hour batteries, or do we want to find this happy medium? I don't know. Long story, I guess, on that, or the short story on that is, do you buy a new iPhone or do you wait because you know the next one's going to come out very shortly after and miss out? I think if you get an e-bike and you know it's not going to be a long-term purchase, or you're just happy with getting a good bike, that's the best bike you can get for that time being, just have fun and ride the thing. Bikes are never a great investment, so don't miss out on all the fun you're going to be having over the next 6 months because you're waiting. Because you're always going to be waiting if that's your case. Bikes are always going to get lighter, always going to get better. So go buy a bike, have fun, and sell it. There you go. Funner on tech or flow? Well, that is one of the beauties about this bike. It is, I would say, equally fun on both types of terrain. It really excels. I think it really likes rough, choppy downhills, like fast, chunky, gnarly shit. This thing, it's awesome. How is flickability compared to the SL or the Rise? Yeah, it's not as flickable. It's heavier. I mean, it's quite a bit heavier. It is still fun and flickable, and you can do stuff. However, it takes a little bit more of I'm trying to think of the word. Like, you have to be
making a decision to flick that bike. It's not like just like a last second, like, oh, let me just push my hips out and get the bike to move wherever. Like, you have to ride these e-bikes with a little bit more intention and purpose to make it flick and move, but it's definitely not a pig. Motor issues. No motor issues so far. No belt, no anything like that. We have noticed that on longer days where we're climbing a lot, it does seem like the motor might get a little bit louder throughout the day, or towards the end of the third, fourth, fifth climb. The tone will just change a little bit, but no other issues with the motor. Something that we did notice and have heard other people had issues with is like this charge door. We broke this little plastic lever right here, which is the lock. And then behind that, when that door flips open, if you back the bike out, say you unplug it out of the charger and you don't close the door and you back it out, it'll snap that door off. And it sounds like Specialized might be working on something there, but for an update maybe, or a way to improve that, but no other motor issues. Off topic. Any chance of getting a Husqvarna e-bike? We would love to get a Husqvarna e-bike, especially because I ride a Husqvarna dirt bike, and I would love to have matching bikes in the garage. I don't think they're really doing very much in North America for the time being. Just from looking at the bikes, I don't know if I would say that they're better than what's on the market here in North America. I think there's probably some as good or better bikes, but Swap Moto, what's happening, dude? Old Don's out there. What product do you use to keep your hair defying gravity like that, my man? I use Murray's pomade, okay, the original orange tin. For some reason, there's always a comment about the hair out there. Murray's, if you guys want to sponsor me, currently open space right here, let me know. But thanks, Don. I'm glad you're here. Let's see here. Have you seen a difference in the battery based on outside temperatures? Yes. Not just on this bike, but on all of the e-bikes that we've ridden. Especially, in Bend in the winter, we can go out and ride when it's 34 degrees out. It'll be sunny, so it feels nice on the skin, but the air is cold. And we'll definitely see a small drop in battery range. Same thing if it's like really hot out. Not enough to really be of concern. You're talking maybe a couple of miles in difference, so not a huge thing. How does it compare to the Yeti? I like the Yeti quite a bit. The Yeti has a little bit stiffer, I don't want to say harsher, but it is a stiffer suspension feel, especially like at speed on chunky terrain. And as a rider who likes a very soft, supple, off the top feel, that would be kind of the one area I noticed that the Yeti, I would choose the Levo over the Yeti. I like the Shimano system. The Yeti looks sweet. It is fun. The geometry is dialed. It's a very sweet bike all around. I might give a nod to Shimano in terms of reliability for the drive unit and the motor over the Specialized system, but both of those bikes are very high on my list of awesome e-bikes. I think the suspension again on this bike's a little bit better. Did you ever slice the charging port door off the crank by rolling the bike backwards? We did not do that. We have a couple friends who did. We did, however, break the little lock, the little toggle that locks and unlocks the door cover. So we did break that, but not the whole door. David, thank you. That e-bike shootout video is a ton of work and stress, but we love doing it. It is a lot of fun too. The 2022 shootout will be taking place in Knoxville, Tennessee,
and we are going out there on April 15th, and we'll be out there for 10 days. We're pretty stoked that our shootouts are some of the longest, most thorough, and we do a absolute shitload of riding. We put a ton of miles on these bikes. So very end of April, Tennessee. We'll turn it around as quick as we can because we know you guys got money just burning holes in your pockets, right? Feelings on the Rocky Mountain. Mike Collins, what's happening? I really like the Rocky Mountain. The motor crapped out on us at 96 miles. We sent the drive unit back. We're waiting on word from what they get out of the diagnostics there. We put a new drive unit in just a couple weeks ago, have 5 rides on it. I actually just sent a pretty big drop today over at Rocky Peak here in Simi Valley. I really like that bike. There are some weird motor sensations, I guess. Like it's a little weird in how it delivers power. I love it sometimes, and other times it's a little bit quirky. But as a whole, that bike is really awesome. Alright. Do you think there is still a need for the dual Kenevo in comparison to the new Levo? Yeah, I do. I do think there is a need for it. I think if you are someone who's maybe like a diehard dedicated downhiller, you know, maybe you live at the base of like some super gnarly downhill trails, you know, and you just maybe don't want to shuttle or use your truck, you're not interested in long miles, you don't ride flat or mellower trails, like you are just going out and charging gnarly downhills, I think that Kenevo is going to definitely be a little bit better of a bike there. Is it worth upgrading from a Gen 2 to a Gen 3? Well, worth it. That's always a tough one to answer. I'll say this. If you asked me, does the Gen 3 ride better than the Gen 2? I would say, hell yes it does. A lot better. If it's worth it to you, I don't know. But to me, this thing is way better. Swap. Still, all right, dude, give me that Husky. I'm down. What would be your top 3 e-bikes if I was to personally buy one? Those are questions that I ask myself, or that is one of the questions I ask myself regularly, and it's really hard. There's a lot of things I look at, and obviously my riding style, the terrain I ride, and what I want out of a bike aren't going to be the same for everybody. That being said, a Levo would be high on my list. I think an aluminum Trek rail, which didn't see the new updated, much longer geometry, would be on the list. I like the Rocky. I don't know if I'd buy the Rocky though. I don't know if I'd buy the Rocky. It's up there, but the motor stuff has me weirded out a little bit from a reliability, warranty, service standpoint, right? If I'm on the road, there's a lot of dealerships that might have Shimano stuff handy. I like the Yeti. It's up there. What else?
An SL?
Huh?
An SL?
An
More
SL?
slew?
Nah. I don't know.
Santa Cruz.
Ooh, yeah, the Santa Cruz Heckler could be on that list. I am quite happy with that thing so far. Yeah, that's a tough question. There's so many bikes just constantly coming and going, but this is high on that list. I think that aluminum Trek rail is up there. You know, the Pivot Shuttle is an ugly bike, but it rides really well. Yeah, I don't know. Heckler could be on that list. Yeti's might be on that list too. So, come on down to MTV NorCal Dirt Days. Gonna have 6 different brands to demo, raising money for trail advocacy in Nevada City. Thank you for the invite. That sounds pretty cool. I'll have to check it out. Does it have the Bosch style of e-bike mode? I think by that you are asking if it has like a smart or a dynamic assist mode. It does not. There are 3 preset modes, Eco, Trail, and Turbo, or whatever
the Specialized calls them, I can't remember right now, but there's a micro tune feature where on the fly you can press and hold this plus button and then toggle up or down and customize the power on the fly, but not a smart dynamic assist. What's up, nerds? Well, not a whole lot, bud, but thanks for reaching out. New Orbea alloy. Thing's sweet. We have one at home. We've only got a couple rides on it, but I like the Orbea e-bikes. Both the Rise and the Wild are both cool bikes. Score. They are coming to the e-bike shootout, supposedly. I'm very excited to ride it. Ooh, the Marin Alpine Trail e-bike. That is also a very solid bike. Very solid bike. Kona Remote, good bike. I mean, in the review we said it doesn't like scream, you gotta buy me, this is the best bike ever, but there was also not really any areas where we were bummed or thought that it wasn't great. It's a good bike. It gets the job done for sure. How is the walk mode? Thank you, Patrick. I don't love the walk mode on this bike. That is something worth noting. I guess you can kind of rotate this controller a little bit, but I feel like it's kind of hard to get up under there and hold that. And it's also not the most powerful or fastest. So walk mode, don't use it a ton, but when you do, it's not the best. How much time do you still spend on a pedal bike? Has all of this e-bike time affected your speed? That's a tough one. If I'm not at a bike park riding a downhill bike, which is my favorite thing to do, I would say almost all my time is on an e-bike these days. You know, operating a business, I've got a nearly 11-month-old baby. My time to ride is not what it once was, where I could just go out and put myself in the pain cave and just have fun pedaling for hours and hours. So, that being said, when a test bike shows up, right, it could be the coolest, flashiest, most bitchin' new pedal bike. I look at it, I love it, and then I think, who can I get to go test this bike so I can go ride an e-bike? As messed up as that is to say, that's the reality, right? Because I know I only have X amount of time to go ride, and I can go out to these trail networks where I ride and test bikes, and I can get in 1, maybe 2 laps, or I can get in 4, 5, 6 laps. And ultimately, right, I want to be fit, I like being strong and in shape, but I also really like fun and going downhill, and these things let me do that more. I will say, I think there are trade-offs. Leg stamina, cardio stamina changes, but you get stronger upper body and core. I think if you mix e-bike and analog bikes together, you'll be way stronger and way fitter. I think if maybe you just go pure e-bike, you might get some drawbacks, is what I'm starting to see now that I'm shifting more. Is the seat collar shimmed? Looks like it is. What do you know? Hey, Big Dog. Thank you. We love you too. Let's see. Do you think the motor in the Levo will have the durability? I've heard of issues with older units. Yes, Trevor. There were some older previous generation Levos that had a lot of issues. Those were some of the things that Specialized really wanted to address in this bike. Time will tell. We did actually just go to a Specialized demo center last week, and I did talk to like their head mechanic about what they were seeing lifespan wise, and I think there's a lot of elements, right? He said like the extra large bikes or whatever, the S5 or S6, the bigger bikes are seeing drive units being replaced earlier than the S2 and 3, like the small size bikes, right? And that has probably to do with heavier riders, putting more load on bikes. Could possibly also have to do with, you know, they're getting a lot more miles. So I think there's still going to be some longevity issues that we're going to have to just wait and see on. We haven't had any issues. None of our direct friends who own these bikes have had any issues yet. And they are definitely better than the previous generations. So are they as good as Shimano or Bosch? I don't know. Time will tell. Does anyone have an opinion on the Commensal Meta AM29? That's a cool bike. It's heavy. It's definitely kind of a purpose-built bike, but it's pretty sweet. Steam bikes. That's funny. Well, let's see here. How about the rattle that other freewheel internal motor have, like EP8 or Bosch? Is it a constant bugger on the downs? Not on the Levo. There's not very much noise on this. It's a pretty quiet bike. So, all right. Any other questions you guys have? Type them out now. Let me know what you think. While we're in a little bit of a break here, while this thing refreshes, once again, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you like these live bike review formats? If we, dedicated and had a little bit more budget to do these a little bit better, a little more efficiently and professionally, is it something that you guys would find value in and appreciate doing? Especially if we could bring a representative possibly from a brand on board to also answer any questions that we don't know. If that's cool, let us know. If you think you'd be interested in spending $1, $2, $3, $5 a month to access live reviews and get a lot more behind the scenes footage, let us know there too, because obviously we would love to be able to flow our edit guy a couple extra bucks a month to go through these, tons of files that we have and just don't have time to have him edit. But if you guys are into it, we'll friggin' pass it along and let you guys watch a whole lot more behind the scenes videos. So, is your FE350 street legal? Yes, it is, as a matter of fact. That was a big reason I bought that bike, so I could ride out the door and hit the trails. I know you're, let's see. I'm scrolling back up here. How would I compare to the Trek Rail 22? I gotta tell you guys, I really like the Trek Rail. I'm a Trek fan, if you haven't picked that up. I think Trek might have shot themselves in the foot with the geometry on the new carbon bikes going so long, so slack. I think they kind of did what Norco did, which is alienate me. The Norco sight went from being one of my favorite e-bikes to a bike that, frankly, I think is just too long, too sluggish, and it's really good, but it's not the bike for me anymore. And I'm unfortunately thinking that the Trek Rail could suffer that same fate in the higher end carbon ones. The lower priced aluminum frames, I believe, are still 21 geometry, which is a little bit more versatile, a little, I think, better suited for mountain biking on non-purpose built, modern flow trails with big high-speed corners and stuff. So that being said, I really like the Rail. I really like Bosch. I don't know what I would pick though. We'll have to wait for the shootout for that one. Let's see. I know you're around my size, 5'11", 6 foot. Have you tried the S5? And do you feel the S4 is the best all-around feel for your height? Absolutely. We are filming our long-term review on this bike. I kind of wanted to field some questions here and see what you guys are interested in. But yes, I love a 475 to a 480 reach. That's my go-to. I think it blends stability with playfulness. The S4 is 477. I would absolutely pick that size again. I think long bikes are, I don't know, it's a fad, and maybe for some people it works in some areas, but not for the mountain biking I like to do. Is this the best e-bike period, money aside? The only reason that I'm hesitant on answering that question with a yes, from a performance standpoint, okay, we're not talking value, because you said money aside. Is this the best riding e-bike, period? The longevity, the durability of the motor and the belts is the only reason I'm hesitant in saying yes, because we just don't know yet, right? I mean, it's only been 1 year, and we're 175-pound guys, and yeah, we don't have any problems, but that's not to say 180 to 200 pound guy or a 160 pound guy who rides every day and has already put 5,000 miles on their bike hasn't had an issue. So I don't know. It's up there though. Let's see. Anything? Oops, don't do that. Don't do that. Have you lowered the BB pedal strikes? What position do I have it in right now? Yeah. I've been riding the bike in the high position. It's still in the high position. I'm not a huge fan of super duper low bikes again, or super long bikes. It does strike pedals a little bit when you get it into low. I like short 160 cranks on e-bikes. I just ride in a lot of rocks, so yeah, that's that. Let's see. Is this the most expensive e-bike we have tried? No, Octodad, it is not. In fact, we made it really easy. If you go on our YouTube channel, we made a big thumbnail. It said the most expensive e-bike we've ever tested, and it's a Mondraker, and I think it's 15. Well, how much was that thing? Over 15. It was over 15,000, so that's up there. Speaking of Mondrakers, you guys, we're giving one away. Well, Fly Rides Bike Shop is giving one away, so make sure you go check out the Mondraker video we just posted. Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you're not. You probably are if you're here, but we're giving away a Mondraker, so go check it out. Just rode a 2022 Slash, super sick. Wee large feeling at around 486 for a large. Thank you, glad to hear it. 5'7" S3, probably. I would say that sounds pretty solid. Swap Moto. We love you, buddy. Thank you. You guys are killing it. You guys are doing great. If you are Moto fans, check out our good buddy Don down there in the bright yellow circle. Swap Moto Live. He does some great moto stuff. So thanks for the kind words, sir. And you're doing good stuff as well. Coming off my Mega Tower at 470, the Slash almost felt like an S5 Evo. Crazy how riding a large bike instantly made my bike feel smaller when I hopped back on it. Yeah, there are trade-offs, and I do think based on where you ride and how you ride, and what you want out of the feel of your bike, you know, you're gonna want a different size bike, right? Like, I'm 5'11", and based on the size chart, I could fit an S3, 4, or 5. And you know, maybe if I rode in Squamish and spent time on lots of more high-speed, bermed, big trails that are kind of new school in building, and I was climbing up fire roads to get to them, maybe that longer reach would give me more stability, more speed, more confidence. But in slower, like tighter, more technical flat corners, really steep drop-offs, you know, like, you know, here in Simi Valley where we've been riding the last few days, or you know, on the home trails out in Suicide and Dead Cow in Oak Park, it's like, I like that shorter bike because it lets me play, it lets me manual that front end. It's not such a big, heavy bike out in front of me. So, yeah, I think a 475 or 80 is perfect. All right, I think we'll call it good from that, guys. Anything else? Boom. Swap Moto is awesome. He is awesome. Right on. Well, thank you guys very much for watching once again. As always, we really appreciate you. Hopefully you guys had some fun, got some of your questions answered. You know, whether it was comparing this to other bikes that you currently own or are thinking about owning. I know they are huge investments, huge purchases, I should say. So we really want to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions for your local terrain, your riding style, you know, other bikes that you might be looking at. So hopefully we brought you guys some value there. If we did, just ask that you maybe consider subscribing to the channel, and when we bring out that YouTube premium feature, you sign up for that. You know, I think it'll be a lot of fun. We'll do a lot more of these live bike reviews. We'll do some other live product reviews, get some behind the scenes footage going on, extended video takes. I'm sure you guys just love seeing me talk more and more. So Whatever. Have fun. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you guys again for watching. Yeah, we always love doing this stuff, talking to you guys. It's super cool. Thank you very much for the support. See you guys out on the trails, hopefully. Stay tuned for our e-bike shootout, end of April, East Tennessee. If you guys are out there, come say what's up. We'll be riding. So thanks again, guys. Have a good weekend.